Hello everybody, welcome back to Valley of the Mist Block of the Month. I'm Adriane Ritter.
And I'm Shelley McNeely.
And this is our March 2026 Block of the Month. And for this month, our flower is the lotus flower. So to start with, let's have Shelley talk about the fabrics we need.
Okay, so for this year, if you're going to turn your block in for the drawing, then you need a focus fabric that we sell at the Guild. And this focus fabric this year is Banyan Batiks Kaleidoscope Lime. So if you're not going to turn it in, you can use whatever fabrics you want. And this year you have a choice of picking any colors or you want anywhere in the block except for the focus fabric.
Well, but the focus fabric
can be anywhere.
Yeah,
it can be anywhere. But we try to use a minimal amount if we can. So,
yeah, but if you like it,
yeah,
you know, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so what fabrics do they need for this particular block?
Okay, so for our background, we have 5 2-inch squares. And those are for the flippies that we're going to do.
For 4 of those.
Oh yeah, you're right. Only 4 of them are. And then 1 2-inch by 3.5 inch, and 1 2 by 6.5 inch, then 2 that are 2 inches by 8 inches, and 1 that's 2 inches by 11 inches. And that's all the background we need. Then we have the flower center,
which Shelley and I both used the focus fabric for that.
And that's a 2-inch square. And then we're going to call it flower 2, but the other flower is 2 by 3 3/4, and 1 that's 2 by 5 1/4. And then we have 3 leaf colors. So there's leaf 1, there's 1 that's 2 inches by 5 1/4, and 1 that's 2 by 7.
Most of these you only need 1 of.
Right.
There's just a couple you need more than 1.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So for leaf 2, there's 1 2 by 8, and 1 2 by 11. And then for leaf 3, there's 1 that's 2 by 11, and 1 that's 2 by 12.5. So we want to mention this, the last 2 leaf pieces, right?
Yeah.
You might want to have, if you have trouble getting 12.5 inches when you're done, or think you might want to wait to cut those, or cut them 1/4 inch bigger.
Yeah, so it'd be 2 1/4
right.
on the width on each of those.
Right.
But and I originally had that in the instructions, but mine kept coming out 1/4 inch too big, so I'm like, why waste the fabric, right? So so we just put it to the regular size and let you decide whether you want to do that bigger part. Now this block goes together kind of like a log cabin. It's not completely like a log cabin, so we're going to kind of take it through as we build out the block.
Right.
But the first thing we want to do is to make our flippy corners. Now, I do want to mention we were at a thing lately, and I guess they're called flippy corners, or they're called,
I don't remember.
They're called another thing, but we call them flippy corners. And if you look it up, it is a term for that quilters use, and that's to make these corners on these flower blocks. And the reason it's kind of like doing a half square triangle, but we're doing it on a longer strip. And we would have done it as half square triangles, except for you only need 1 of each direction. So it's not like you can make 2 and it
right.
Well, I mean, you could make 2, and then these are really short little blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we just decided to do it as flippy corners.
Yeah.
So generally,
we're going to be doing a lot of flippy corners this year.
And I would say we do that a lot when it's smaller pieces.
Right.
Because it just gets harder to make those little
half square
triangles.
Yeah.
Okay. But the process is very similar. So you're going to take your flower 2 fabric and your leaf 1 strips that you have. And, back up from that even. The first thing we really want you to do is to lay out all of your block on some sort of board so you have an idea of where the things are going. And you can, we're going to go over more detail as we do this of the sizing of where some of the background pieces go, but it's pretty obvious. They build out from smaller to bigger. So if you lay those out, then you can see I put these background pieces on the ends where I need the flippy corner.
There's a fly bothering us.
I think it's a moth. and so these actually, when you do the flippy corner, you do have to watch the orientation of how it goes on the corner. And these all kind of go, kind of flip down to the outer edge.
Yeah.
I don't know how
to lay it and then.
Yeah. But what you're going to do is you're going to take these 4 pieces of background fabric that are 2-inch squares, 4 of the 5, and you're going to draw a diagonal line on them, on the wrong side. And then you're going to place it on the corner of these pieces of fabric where we need to make the flippy corner. And I've drawn the line on this one, but on all of these it would be a line. It'd be like this, or it'd be like this, or like that, or right here. And you're going to sew just 1 thread width to this side, to the upper outer corner, I guess would be the way to describe it. And so just to the inside of that. And then after you sew it, you're going to take the corner, fold it down on the seam line, and look to see, did I replace that corner with that fabric? Because this corner should still be 2-inch square at the end. Now, I mean, the block isn't a 2-inch square, but it should be 2 inches of this. The length of it isn't as important, but the width, you want this 2 inches. So it really should fill in that corner. And if it does, after you sew it down, this is one thing we caution you only because we have done the wrong thing a number of times. Maybe I don't know if Shelley has. I definitely have. Where I have it on there, it's sewn on there, I've made sure it works. Now I lay it back down and I cut on this side of the outer upper side of that line a 1/4-inch seam before I press it. And then I go and press it because once you press this up here, it wants to be there, and you're like, oh, I need to cut a 1/4-inch seam, and I would say there's probably been a good 10 times I have cut off the whole piece. So you think you're like, who's going to do that? Well, it happens.
It happens.
Especially when you're doing a lot.
Yeah.
And this month is we'll call this month our introduction to flippy corners.
Yeah, because there's only a few.
But I will warn you, there's a few blocks coming up where there might be like 10.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah, or more.
because we use little tiny pieces to round the corners to make the flowers.
Flowers don't look square.
Yeah. Okay. So but they're very easy to do. Just they're also very easy to cut the whole thing off.
Right.
And we just don't want you to have to do a lot of resewing. Because even if you do cut it off, you just have to put another flippy corner on it and sew it back on. But it is kind of a pain in the neck. So
we normally would press these seams open, didn't we?
Yeah, because it's a triangle, and in general, we press triangles open. We'll leave that up to you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not.
Might not matter as much, but
there is some intersecting seams.
Yeah, there are.
Especially right where these ones come together.
Yeah.
So let's go sew on those flippy corners, and when we come back, we will make the next step in making our block. Okay, so that went so smoothly. Shelley did not sew one on backwards.
Yes, I did. I said 2.
Oh, 2 of them. Okay.
I did on the one, because each side.
Right, I have them up here to show you. Yeah. So as you can see, the 2 leaves, you're sewing on an opposite edge.
Right. And
you sewed them the same? Or?
I think it was totally. I don't even remember. It was just totally wrong. But so
yeah. Her sewing machine gave her a little.
It did.
Gave her a little trouble.
Because and I after I did it, I remembered. Oh, don't start at the pointy part. Start on the edge that doesn't have the pointy part, and you won't have trouble with your.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that actually is a good point.
Yeah.
Let me unpress this. But so when you have your edge down, she's saying start down at this end,
Yeah.
not at this end, because now I have a straight stitch needle plate in my machine, so it's being actually pretty darn good. So it's not a problem. But if you have trouble where your points kind of sometimes go down into the machine and it grabs on for dear life,
Yeah.
if you start at this end and sew this way, you shouldn't have any trouble with that.
Right.
Okay, so I just have those up there to show you kind of how they should look. It's confusing because they're not by the flower, but I could put them there, but I'm not gonna.
Okay.
So I'm going to trust that everybody, was able to make their flippy corners, and we're going to proceed with the flower. So this first step that we're going to do is very simple. You should have 2 pieces left on your design board that are 2-inch squares. One is the center flower color, and one is a background piece. And you're going to sew those 2 together along a 2-inch edge.
Okay.
They're all 2-inch edges. Okay. Then you're going to press them open and have the flower center on the left side.
Yes.
Yes. And then on top of that, you're going to put this piece of background fabric that is 2 inches by 3.5, because these 2 together should be 3.5.
Right.
And when we're done, this piece is going to be a 3.5-inch square. And in case we forget to mention it, as we go along, if you add 1 piece to a side, it's going to go up each time by 1.5 inches. So
Right.
We'll try to remember to say what size they should be, but if we forget, you're just adding 1.5 inches because of the math, where you lose 1/2 inch for each piece.
Each seam. Yes.
Okay, so let's sew these together. All right, we're back.
We're back.
That part went good. But Shelly, let's go back to the flippy corners.
Yeah, well, I thought I sewed these wrong, but then I sewed them really wrong, and so I had to go back to what I had because I placed them in the wrong place.
She actually, when she put them back on her design board, she put these 2 down here, and didn't even look at the other 2, and go, that's wrong. So she fixed them, but she really unfixed them.
I unfixed them. Yeah.
And she had cut off the corner.
Yeah.
So she's like, I've got to recut these, and I go, no, you don't. We're using batiks.
I know.
So she was able
to recover
by just
turning them
over.
Yeah.
So see, like we said last month, that's partly why we use batiks too.
And things always happen,
All right, now moving on. We do have a nice 3.5-inch square for our center. And the next step that we're going to do is add these flower 2 sections. And so you have obviously a shorter one and a longer one. We're going to add the shorter one first. And I have this taken out of my board. Shelly has her whole board so you can see the part that we're working on. And you will notice when you go to sew these 2 together that this flower 2 section, this one and the other one, might be a tiny bit too long. That's because in case you have trouble with your flippy corners, we did allow a little extra room on these 4 pieces. At the most, it should be a 1/4 inch. So we want you to position it with the flippy corner top edge against your block. And after you sew it on, press it and then press it open and then trim it to match the length before you go and sew this next one on. And then you're going to trim that one also.
Yeah, do it the same way on that edge.
Yeah, so because this will be just a tiny bit long when that's sewn together when you go to sew this piece on. So we'll sew those 2 pieces on and we'll be back. All right, so we have our little flower center that, what did we say, how big was that?
5 inches square.
Okay, so now this next step, we're actually going to kind of do it like you would a log cabin. You're going to sew on this shorter piece of leaf number 1, and then you'll have this direction will be 6.5, 5 by 6.5. Then you're going to sew on this second leaf section. We're going to go counterclockwise around the circle. And then you'll have a 6.5-inch square. Then you're going to sew on this right side of the background.
Right.
And then it'll be 8 inches that direction. And then when you sew this next piece of background on, you should have an 8-inch square. And we're actually going to do that again the next round, but we'll go over. We're going to come back.
Right.
So let's sew this round on. Remember, you're going counterclockwise. All right, we're getting close. So I misspoke the last round when I said this round was the same way. But let's go back even before that. I think on the last round I forgot to mention again that we were working with these flippy corner ones, and you do have to put them on and then trim at the bottom on both of those. After that, your pieces should be the right size. If they're not the right size, then you've got the wrong piece. So this round, we're going to add the pieces, the last side piece of, oh no, it's not. There's one more because I don't have my board up here. So we're going to add the leaf number 2 to one side and a background to the other. And
this one and this one.
Yeah, so it's a leaf on the left and the background on the right side. And then press those. And at this point, we're pressing out. We don't have seams like getting in the way. And then you're going to add the top and bottom piece, which is a background on the top and that leaf 2 on the bottom. Okay, then we'll come back. Oh, at the end of this, that will be 9.5 inches square. No, it'll be 11 inches square. It's 9.5 when you add one side. But because we're adding 2 sides, it's going to go up by 3 inches.
Okay.
So it'll be 11 inches square.
Right.
All right, almost done. Right. How'd that round go?
Don't ask.
You know what is so funny is that I'm usually the goof up. I don't pay attention. I get distracted. I guess I've been distracting Shelley.
You were.
Yeah, she'll blame it on me. Okay, so Shelley had to do just a little ripping again, but
it was fine.
It's all fine. Everything is coming out the right size.
Yes.
So now our block here, like I said, should be 11 inches square. And we're going to add the last 2 edges. So obviously, because this one matches the one on the left, we're going to add that one first, and then we'll add this bottom piece. Right. And press them out, and you should end up with a 12.5-inch beautiful lotus flower.
Yes.
All right.
That floats in the water. So
Yeah.
Maybe.
I wouldn't test it. Maybe in the bathtub, but no. Okay. All right. So we'll be back with our finished blocks. Okay, we're back. All right. You people that were laughing at me. It's not funny.
Yes, it is.
Shelley thinks it's really funny after the struggle she had. But for those of you that didn't notice.
Yeah, right.
The center of my flower was kind of hanging out in space.
Like somebody stole it right out of the flower or something.
Yeah, and I don't know how, I mean, I was just getting ready to put the last strip on and I'm like, Shelley, there's something wrong here. So I have a problem here. But as you can see, it actually was not hard to fix because the part where I had it turned, it was this little block, and that's only 3.5-inch piece, so I didn't have to tear out very much, and I just had to turn it around and put it back in. So anyway, so there is our lotus flower. Now they all should be in the correct order.
You know, I hate to
like
say,
flower.
but this potentially could be our easiest block of the year.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I would say that any mix-ups were not because of the difficulty of the block.
No.
It was probably Adriane's chatterbox mouth.
It's hard to say, but you know, yeah.
I mean, I think you guys have noticed I talk a lot on the videos. Well, I talk a lot all the time. So
just so you know, next month will be an interesting one. So
yeah, you know what? What's kind of interesting. We've kind of introduced a new thing each month, a little bit.
yeah. So
And I'm not going to tell you where, but next month there'll be prairie points involved. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So that's our Lotus block. These March blocks are due at the April meeting, and we will see you back here next month.